And welcome back to the Always Be Building Show, sponsored by Dynasty Football Factory Network. I am Stephen Chalmers. I'm not joined by Ryan tonight. It's all good. But we do have a special guest filling in. As I always like to say, we never do podcasts alone. Welcome to the show, my boy over at Dynasty Football Factory. We call him MR. Say what's up to the people.
What's happening?
So tonight, Ryan chose Jackson Dart. So we are not gonna talk about Jackson Dart. We went ahead and we are gonna talk about Colston Loveland.
Let's do that.
Tight end out of Michigan. A lot of people have Colston Loveland as the Devy tight end one. It has been that way for quite some time. He has balled out since his freshman year at Michigan. And respectfully has balled out his whole time in college. And here we are. So before we get going, Dynasty Football Factory Network, they give me the gracious opportunity to come on here and talk about podcasts and to do podcasts with my boy Ryan every single week. And can't say how much I appreciate them. So as always, the Dynasty Football Factory Network content is being produced on the daily. So $20 is the subscription. Comes out, like I said, $19.99 yearly, about $1.67 a month once you break it down. Very, very cheap for the content that you're going to get. So over there, Dynasty, Ryan and I are working on the Dynasty side, going to dabble into Devy as well now that we're going to do a lot of these prospect profiles throughout the year. Devy as well. A lot of people work on that side. Best ball, redraft, all kinds of information over there. When you access that, you get access to our Discord. Come in and talk with us. Like I say all the time, we are just fantasy football fanatics. Just looking to talk football. It's what we love to do.
All day, all night, like Denny's never closed.
So,
yeah, if I can add to that, Stephen, another thing too, we were talking about, in the pregame here. At DFF, we're always looking for new content creators, editors, people to join the team. Don't have to be professional. Don't have to be whiz kids. We're looking for anybody that's passionate, enjoys playing Dynasty, Devy, any form of fantasy football, and looking to contribute content to the site, get on shows like this, and kind of help out when needed, and above all, just engage with the crew at DFF and the awesome members that we have in the Discord. Like Stephen was saying, it's always a conversation, trade valuations, general stock market stuff the last few days. But I mean, on top of that, just a bunch of guys that are dedicated to the game, enjoy it, and have a lot to say about the platform and in the format.
Yeah, it's a family over there, man. Ryan and I always like to give love to DFF. They've given us the opportunity to grow this. And when we took over the YouTube was below 400 subscribers. We're now pushing for 500. The number doesn't seem like much, but it means a lot to us. It's our project. We've had a 1K video. We've had multiple videos over 600 views. We've had a lot of success on the YouTube that Ryan and I are very proud about. And we get to come here and we get to share this information with you guys. Again, very non-biased opinions here. We're gonna tell you how we feel about these players, and we don't follow the norms. A lot of people will follow the norms on social media. We're not gonna do that. We tell you the truth, we tell it to you raw. If you don't like it, unfortunately, there's other content creation sites to go to, but that's just how you're gonna get it from Ryan and I. But over at DFF, it's a family. That's just what it is. And we're very thankful to be a part of that family and they allow us to do this. And it's a great time with these boys. So if you guys are looking for a content creation opportunity, you can shoot me a message on Twitter. You can shoot MR a message on Twitter. The Dynasty Football Factory Twitter has a message site. Don't hesitate to do it.
Absolutely.
Colston Loveland.
Let's do this. Yeah.
Let's do it. So 82, 83, 83 people are in here, and we're only 5 minutes into the show. Just want to say, hey, appreciate you guys before we get rocking. Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. Again, like I said, typical everybody's Debbie tight end one, has been for quite some time. Profile is pretty simple. 6'6" tight end, 248 pounds, 4.740. 4.740. Number that threw me off. So Tyler Warren had a 123 QBR when targeted overall in his college career. Colston Loveland, 88.2. A number that a little threw me off a little bit. Again, both of these schools don't stand out to me as prolific passing options when it comes to the college game. They just don't. A lot of these schools, these two schools specifically, emphasize the run. And with Colston Loveland, I did expect the QBR to be a little higher when I was diving into it. But 88.2, not great, but let's go with respectable. So, background on Colston, Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Big Ten. Sophomore year, all Big Ten selection as a sophomore. In his junior year, he was a second-team All-American, and he broke Michigan's single-season receptions for the tight end position at 56, leading the Michigan school with 1,466 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns. The big thing that I noticed each year, receptions, 16, 45, 56, and then receiving yards per game, 16, 43, and 58, all increased each year. Again, I can't talk about his junior year because he only played 10 games. His receiving yards would have went up as well. But unfortunately, he only played 10 games. So, consistent level of production increases from Colston Loveland, which is what you want to see. Is there anything that stands out to you about Colston Loveland before we get into the pros and cons?
Yeah, I think that, like you and I were discussing before, is that the Debbie community has been as high as you can on, and a tight end prospect. They've been on Colston Loveland for some time now. In the two Debbie drafts that I've already either completed or am currently in, Tyler Warren's been available in both of those drafts. Colston Loveland was long gone. So certainly didn't sneak up on anybody in terms of what was expected. And seeing that translate at the next level is, one of those things where we're not going to really know until, rubber hits the road with tight end, in general, as we've known them in fantasy football, especially in the Dynasty formats, but or the tight end premium formats. But I'm excited to see what he brings to rosters, depending on where he lands, right? And we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but the opportunity should be there for, a nice target for, Burrow or Tua or Stafford or maybe Richardson, if you get your wish, right, Stephen?
If you get your wish, yes. So with Loveland, it's pretty simple. I believe that this his college resume and of work and his body of work just shows you guys who this guy is at the next level. So when I look at him, he's just an oversized slot receiver when I look at this guy. And that's a lot of tight ends today typically don't play on the line of scrimmage unless you're a George Kittle type guy, Mark Andrews type guy, these guys that have been introduced to the league as good blockers and are asked to block. Your Colston Loveland's, that's not who he is. It's just not his game. When I say a Swiss Army knife type player, he is a mismatch in every alignment possibility on the football field. He succeeds in every asset of the game. The way Michigan uses him, very basic. It's very basic. It's not the way I saw we use Tyler Warren at Penn State. He's not lining up in the backfield. We're not running trick plays where Tyler Warren's throwing touchdown passes in the red zone. We're not doing all that kind of alignment versatility. It's not creative. Their play calling this year was very, very basic, but it's very simple, and it got Colston Loveland the ball. It got the ball in space and allowed him to work after the catch. And guess what? Those numbers matter. That's fantasy points. That's fantasy success. And I believe in offense at the NFL level, He may not be a one option, but it can run through Colston Loveland.
Yeah, I mean, especially if he goes to a system that is tight end, sort of dominant, if you would. But having that guy who's variable for your offense and can do a lot of different things, really sets the scene for fantasy points, particularly in our premium formats. And I think that we're seeing, a high percentage of our leagues on the Debbie side, on the traditional Dynasty side, be tight end premium. So these guys are getting that juice at a very, difficult position to predict and in position of scarcity for the most part.
Exactly. Ryan asked, is Loveland a first-round pick in the NFL draft? Are you saying based off scarcity or talent? Because these two tight ends, yes, Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland are absolutely deserving of a first-round pick. They are very, very talented players, and a lot of teams are in desperate need of good tight ends.
Yeah, we were talking in the pregame about Loveland not getting past, potentially 22 to the Chargers, maybe to the Vikings at 20. I'm sorry, to the Texans at 25, potentially even the Rams at 26. So, I mean, there are a number of teams before that are tight end needy where he'd be great fit. But certainly if Warren's going in the first 15 picks, let's say, Loveland's got a really good shot to land, somewhere solid for fantasy purposes. And IRL football too, but we're not talking about IRL football.
So with Loveland, when I talk about Tyler Warren, I talk about how he plays with his play strength. I talk about how he knows how to just stack defenders. Talk about how he likes to use his strength at times to overpower defenders and set himself up to be in positions to go grab the football and work after the catch. Meanwhile, I always talked about Colston Loveland being the more savvy route runner in all areas of the field, especially across the middle. Just his ability to get in and out of his breaks and his ability as a suddenness with his twitchiness as a mover and as a receiver just set him apart from Tyler Warren. If we were to talk about the overall route running and finesse of the game, Colston Loveland hands down is the better player. As an overall player, when you're talking about Tyler Warren using his play strength, that comes into effect. But being able to just create consistent separation just by coming in and out of breaks and being able to use your twitchiness in and out of your break as well, that's Colston Loveland easily.
How tall is Warren?
Tyler Warren is 6'6".
And Loveland 6'6" as well?
6'6", yep. Tyler Warren plays at about 260. Colston plays at about 245, 250.
Yep. Yeah. It's a lot of meat, man.
They're big boys. Yeah, they're big boys. They can move. So
I mean, to be big and to also be able to show the hands and the versatility of route running and being multiple in terms of fantasy football. I mean, the tight end position, we talked a lot about, pass protection and the things that get them on the field, run blocking and the things of that nature. I remember us being really excited about guys like Ben Snott, last year, and Zach Ertz was ahead of him, and even though Ertz is old as dirt, he's still beating him out for those reps and those opportunities. So, the thing is that for all of the things that Loveland does well, he's going to have to do more at the next level to get on the field for him to be as fantasy relevant as we're expecting now. Do I expect him to do all of that stuff? Absolutely. Particularly, again, just to sort of rehash, if he lands in a system that features the tight end or at least, it has them as a prominent part of the offensive attack. But, doing all of the little things gets you on the field first and foremost. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, where he goes, what he does in training camp and preseason, ensuring that he solidifies his opportunities come season. I don't expect him to be like right out of the gate, producing maybe in the first quarter, third quarter, maybe even the first half of the season. But dudes like this are rare, and put them to work.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about. We talked about how Harold Fannin Jr. doesn't play on the line of scrimmage a whole lot, but his PFF blocking grade was better than Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. So when you talk about Colston Loveland, that's one of my cons for him. His overall his technique and just play strength is a work in progress. He typically gets beat dude. I believe he's actually still filling out his frame. He's actually, for how big he is, he looks a little bit more on the slimmer side. I know 250 doesn't sound slim or slender, but he looks like he could fill out his frame a little bit more. Just notice that at the point of attack and the run blocking scheme side of things, he typically gets blown up. Not blown up, but he typically gets beat at that, and he gets stacked. And he's not a great run blocker. Like I said, he has to work on his technique. He has to work on his play strength, and overall, that's one of my weaknesses for him. He has to put that work in at training camp. He has to put that work in overall, because if you're not willing to get down and dirty and do the little things, you're not going to be on the field.
Yeah. 100% agree. I mean, again, not to beat up Ben Sinnott. I think that we're still in on him for dynasty purposes, but those are the things that he's going to learn over a period of time. And off the top of my head, I'm not really bringing other guys to the table, so to speak. I just kind of like default back to that, because with the draft capital that he got and some of the things that we expected out of him in the fantasy community last season, never really truly got there. And that's always sort of the fear, even when a guy is taken high in the late in the first round or high with draft capital.
Exactly. So the last thing I want to talk about is a positive for me. The basketball background, I always look for that, especially in tight ends. That always stands out as a positive for me. A guy that plays basketball typically knows how to box out and play the 50-50 ball very well. Colston Loveland, again, is no stranger to that. He knows how to do that very well. I'm not going to say that, obviously he's a Tony Gonzalez or Antonio Gates or Jimmy Graham, any of these guys, but these guys that come in with these basketball pedigrees at the tight end position, they typically know how to make their impact on the game in multitude of ways. And I do like that he has that background as well.
But didn't the Panthers just sign someone who's never played football before because of his basketball pedigree?
Yes, they did.
So, I mean, that's the position where if you can hoop, please apply, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And lastly, one more thing. We talked about Tyler Warren being a seam attacker and a seam stacker. Same thing with Colston. Overall for his career, 12.5 yards per reception. Just knows how to attack the intermediate and deep areas of the field. It just seems like this guy's always open, whether it be short, intermediate, or deep. He's a solid prospect, guys. I don't know how else to say it. He can play. Dude can ball.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked to see what he does on Sundays next year.
Yeah.
With all not to rehash it, with everything I've already sort of said as a precursor. I mean, there's a lot of talent there. Like we said, the Debbie community's been pretty big, as big on this guy as you can be on a tight end in Debbie. We were talking about the guys that broke our hearts and just at that that lower level that just never matured or never became what we expected them to be for insert reason here. But Loveland should, to Ryan's point, be a first round pick and develop enough with the right staff, the right situation to get on the field to prove that the talent's there.
Yeah. The last big con I had before getting out of this, and we go to our pro comp. So, especially in this game, the Penn State game in 2024, I noticed occasional focus drops for Colston Loveland. 3 crucial drops in this game that just can't happen. It just can't. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen to players, because I know it does. So, in this game, I noticed a lot a lot of times that he's looking to move upfield before he's secured the football. He has to secure the ball before making that move upfield. Just something I noticed on his tape, especially in the Penn State game. I know it's a hostile environment. I know it's Penn State. I know it's a huge rivalry. I get it. But focus drops do happen to players, but it can't happen all the time.
Yeah, that's the type of thing that gets you benched at the next level. I mean, fumbles, drops, missed blocks. I mean, those are the things, particularly as a young tight end, that he's going to need to, lock in and really focus. I mean, we know that the ability is there. We know the size is there. We know he's going to probably put on 15 pounds in the offseason of pure rock muscle, and he's going to be cut and ready to go. But between the years, can he overcome some of the things that you're talking about? Can he watch the ball into the body? Just like the fundamentals of Sunday football, where if you don't do those things, you're going to get either lit up or by defenses, or sent straight to the bench or the tunnel to go take an early shower. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, I've seen it. Yes, I've seen it. So the pro comp for me for Colston Loveland, a guy that's actively playing in the NFL, guy you might have heard of. He is a huge, huge, huge contributor to the Detroit Lions offense. He reminds me of a lot of another Big Ten tight end, Mr. Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
A guy that, again, he got second-round draft capital. We were talking about it. We were like, oh, my, who is this guy? Who is Sam Laporta? It was always Dalton Kincaid. That's who it was in this class. And here comes Sam Laporta. I would say an off year two compared to year one. But if that's my comp for you, you're doing all right.
Yeah, I think the difference being that Sam Laporta, we were getting in rookie drafts in like the third or fourth round of dynasty drafts. I don't think Loveland's going to be in the third or fourth round. He's not getting out of the first round in tight end premium leagues. He's probably not even getting out of the first round in standard league. Oh, not standard, but traditional leagues, non-tight end premium.
Yeah.
But as a player, I couldn't agree more. I think that, certainly with some of the places that we talked about him potentially landing, with the exception of one, there are quarterbacks there that can do for Loveland what Goff did for Laporta right out of the gate. I mean, he came out and just started smashing right out of the gate. And that was a dude that just got it and did those things to the next level. And I won't say that we were completely taken off guard, but there were a lot of people that had him as, the dynasty tight end one after his rookie season. And then, the regression last year, it happens. But also Brock Bowers comes on to the stage. Basically every other tight end is milk and cookies compared to this guy. But I think that's a great comp.
And lastly, we were talking about Devy. So a little just transition into this. This class has its key points of positions that just stand out as stars that can be in the making here. Tight end is one of those positions. This class is very deep, whether it be your two stars up top with a lot of potential in the middle. And I mean a lot of potential tight ends here that could break out to be studs. And we've talked about a lot of these guys. After this, the community for tight ends is very bleak. I know there's going to be players that come out that break the mold. I get it. It happens all the time. But as an overall prospect standpoint, the tight end position looks very bleak after this season when it comes to the NFL draft. And you need to have a young tight end in today's game. You need to have a young tight end. You do. You just have to. And they are very important in today's tight end premium leagues. For example, I started a league over at Dynasty Football Factory just because I wanted to with the boys. I took Jamar Chase at 7, and by God, Brock Bowers goes 8.
Chris took Brock Bowers at 8. I mean, if Chris would, in knowing Chris for as many years as I have, if he would have had the 4th or 5th pick, he probably would have taken Brock Bowers that early too.
Exactly. And
I mean, it's like that. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
There was just heavy emphasis on the position. I mean, I want to say by round 7, I want to say there was at least 14 to 15 tight ends drafted. It just shows the emphasis on the position. And I mean, of course, there's your veterans in there as well. I know George Kittle was in there. You know, I mean, some veteran guys, and I get that. That's fine because George Kittle is an anomaly.
Yeah,
he's an absolute stud. But a lot of these guys that we were drafting in this position here are 27 and younger.
Yeah, you Trey McBride's. I remember I think I got him at the top of the 3rd round.
Yeah,
not mistaken in that startup, but no, you're right. I mean, it's almost like the Dynasty community is begging college to produce, more, I guess, appetizing tight ends, for lack of a better term. And it's just not a position. We were talking about Devy ADP for the top 60 players, and we couldn't even really get to what a viable option until around 80, 85, right? And Evan Kerr, who is the Devy dude on our team, him and Jim and a few other guys are absolutely amazing, but they were talking about a few other options. They'd probably be a great source in the DFF Discord to kind of chop this part of it up. But like you're saying, Steven, it's a position that we stay away from in Devy, and we just don't, unless it's obvious. And Loveland has been so far that guy for us. I mean, we've had our hearts broken from guys like Arik Gilbert and some of the the others we were talking about before. Where you had mentioned Oscar Delp as being one of those guys, and we're just sort of like we get stoked about these dudes, 2 or 3 years away from the league, and they break our hearts for whether they go off the deep end with their behavior issues or they just they don't materialize into the prospects that we hope for or expect at the the fantasy football level, and certainly not at the NFL level. And then you have dudes that come out of nowhere and surprise you for all of the right reasons. And I think we're looking forward to that this upcoming season with guys like Harold Fannin Jr. and even Tyler Warren as an outlier. And if Gunnar Helm or Terrence Ferguson can get in there and maybe surprise us, Elijah Arroyo, I guess, would be kind of like an outlier surprise. I think Mel Kiper has him as his tight end 3 in this draft, which shows sort of disparity all around. But yeah, man, we're thirsty for. If anybody is watching, please give us more tight ends at the next level. We'd love
for Devy purposes, please.
Yeah. Guys you draft and feel good about.
Yeah, because it's rough out here. So, lastly, I have 2 spots that really, really make sense for me when it comes to a landing spot. There's a lot of spots that make sense. There's spots that I don't want, and of course, there's spots that I do want. The 2 spots that I really, really want are 20 and 22. Obviously, this is assuming that nobody trades on draft night, which is not going to happen. So please assume that these picks are not going to be 20 and 22. But Denver, want that spot, 100%. Evan Ingram signed a 2-year deal with a 1-year out. Very cheap option for a veteran tight end. I get it. Great production, or great piece for Bo Nix and his continued production and path of overall greatness over there in Denver. Love that for him. But long term, would love that landing spot for Colston Loveland.
Ingram also has the injuries, the injury history. So, chances that he plays 17 games, probably not all that high, but also love the Broncos.
And 2, the Chargers. We're talking about a top-tier QB in fantasy who is desperate for receiving options. Desperate. Outside of Ladd McConkey, I got nothing for you. Got nothing for you, bud. That's it. That's all.
No, not unless Quentin Johnston, like all of a sudden, I don't know, became really good at football. Which I don't know that you I don't know. He was better last year than his rookie year. But yeah, you got to get Herbert some weapons in that offense. I mean, pounding the rock is solid. That's a Harbaugh staple. The reuniting with Harbaugh would be, I think, pretty solid as well. We were talking about, the Chargers just being a ripping landing spot in terms of what Loveland could do, almost on I mean, they had Stone Smart was their tight end one after Hayden Hurst went down, right? And so, dude, it's just tumbleweeds over there, man. It's like
Bad.
you gotta get some. You gotta have some players. Got to have some offensive players.
And realistically, though, I don't think when I'm looking at the board, I think it becomes realistic for Colston to get drafted at 14. The Colts are my landing spot. I don't want. I've said that the same thing for Tyler Warren. But then you have the Bengals at 15. You got the Seahawks at 17. There's so many options in that 15 through 18 range right there to where I believe that he could get sniped before we talk about the perennial landing spots we want for fantasy football. Because as fantasy analysts, when do we ever get what we want? We don't.
We don't. No, it's just coal in the stocking. One of the things we were talking about, though, I mean, it's no secret that Sean McVay wanted to get up and get Brock Bowers last season. If the Rams wanted to make a move on draft day, move up, get Colston Loveland, fitting in with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, add Loveland to that offense, Kyron Williams in the backfield, Blake Corum, hopefully he has a better year too. That could skyrocket his value come rookie drafts. But I mean, fool's gold, hoping for that stuff. But you and I talked about the Bengals just being sort of turnkey solution. Drop them in, have them run behind Gesicki for 2 or 3 games and then let them run. The Colts, I know that that's whether it was Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland, they're going to need a tight end at some point. So maybe he doesn't get past that pick. But again, we as fantasy analysts, we only go with the information that is in front of us. It's ever changing, and post NFL draft, I think there's going to be. Well, I know there's going to be a lot more clarity in terms of, is he going behind a bona fide tight end one starter like Evan Ingram has been in the last couple of seasons when on the field, or is he going to a barren wasteland like the Chargers at tight end, Colts at tight end, that type of thing?
Yeah.
Where it's he's just drop him in immediately, the guy.
Yeah, and I love. Like I said, I don't believe he makes it past that realm of outcomes for us. Again, we never get what we want, though, so something's going to happen, whether it be to Tyler Warren, and I would love for Tyler Warren to go to Carolina. We talked about that being the high upside pick in the first round or the top 10. I would love that for Tyler Warren, and then Colston Loveland, let the draft capital work as it falls, and we'll see, or vice versa. But I believe if Tet McMillan's on the board, that's where Tet's going.
Yeah, Panthers make a lot of sense for Tet. It's another place starving for weapons, right? Bryce Young improves last season. After the benching, he comes back. It kind of sucks to say that the best thing that ever happened to the Carolina Panthers was Andy Dalton getting in a car wreck, right? But I mean, it gave the opportunity for Bryce to come back. Games seemed to slow down a little bit. He made some great plays, and we were talking about Jatavion Sanders being one of the guys that we liked a lot last season. Does he improve in year 2, or do they just have sort of this smaller diet size parallel to what happened in with the Raiders when they had Michael Mayer, brought in Brock Bowers, and then all of a sudden it's all right, Mayer is sort of looking for a new home, or he's just not the guy anymore. If the Panthers were to bring in Loveland, and they have Sanders there, maybe Sanders moves on, or I don't know. I'm sure they can get creative, but if they don't take Tet, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So as always, we have film to show. Always come prepared, boys. Let's do it.
Gotta watch the tape, man. Gotta watch the tape.
Gotta watch the tape.
While he's loading, DFF. We got two schools, right? We got the analytics guys, we got the tape guys, and I don't know. It's kind of like the West Side Story. They're kind of always going against each other. So it's a nice sort of opposite pole attraction, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, man, look at the tape, crunch the numbers, whatever your deal is, get into it.
So I'm going to circle here. This is Colston Loveland here. Obviously the route is focused here. Just watch Colston Loveland work here on the inside. There's not a better route you're going to see from a tight end right there. Again, one quick inside slant with a little head fake, and Colston Loveland is gone. We're working across the middle. We're talking about a 26-yard gain. First down, we're moving the ball. Plain and simple.
Yeah. You kind of marvel sometimes. You just like the tight end position and its evolution. And, we complain about like not having enough of these guys, right? But then you see something like that and you're just like, dude, I don't know. You're a big guy. I know you're a big guy. I'm a pretty big guy. We don't move like that. I'm old.
I'm not moving like that. No.
I've never moved like that. So, that's impressive stuff.
So what I want to highlight here. So the thing I like about this clip right here is it's just a simple twitch. It's all it is. Soft spot right here in the coverage. Boom. Sit down, find it. A quick twitch, work upfield. And again, he's a big guy. He's 250 pounds. We're working upfield. We're talking about an 18-yard gain. First down. We're moving the ball. This is Big Ten football. This is competitive football, guys. There's no other way to put this. The SEC, if you want, is the most dominant level of football in the NCAA. Fine, I don't care. The Big Ten is right behind it. This game means everything. This is the 2023 Ohio State film, and by God, if you don't think that they want to take Colston Loveland's head off, he's the number one receiving option on this team, then you're wrong. They want to lay him out right here, and they can't. It's a simple twitch, work up, and go. This 4-yard catch turns into an 18-yard gain. Simple. It's beautiful. I love the way he's smooth, man. He's smooth.
So where do we think he ends up in rookie drafts? Are we still like right around like 110 to 112 range?
If he gets the capital I think he's gonna get, I'm playing in on the Loveland hype at as early as 108.
Yeah, that's in single tight end. In double tight end, probably even higher. The one of the two leagues that I've been drafting right now is a 2 tight end league, and obviously the way that tight ends are drafted in that league are different than a single tight end. But if you're in 2 tight end leagues, he could be top 5 pick. Depending on what your roster looks like.
I've seen tight end premium. I've seen 1.5 per catch. I've done rookie mocks for that. I've seen him go as high as 6.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Again, you don't have to worry about it. Colston Loveland is circled out here, playing out wide. Notice the alignment. So we've seen him play on the line of scrimmage, and we've seen him in the slot. Now we're out wide. I have no idea why the DB didn't decide to press into his body, but for not pressing into his body, he gets beat. One little sudden twitch, stutter step, boom, into a slant. That turns from a 3-yard catch into a 20-yard gain, and the safety's making is saving your job right there. The safety in the tackle. Yeah. Last
Don't
one.
know if he's don't know if he's going to get that type of space at the next level, but sure looks pretty.
Yeah. The last one I love here. We are in. No, that's not the one I want. I'm looking for the one in the red zone. It's the last one I need. Yep, here we go. Very simple here. He is going to house this, by the way. Just let the tape play.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, so the nickel DB here, very simple. Is just riding his coattails. It's just a simple off move. He's going to get up, work in space. Many yards to run free. He's gonna break this tackle, semi break this tackle, boom, twist off, and then there's 4 defenders there. He's gonna fall into the end zone. It doesn't get any easier than that for him. This is why he is a first-round pick. Again, there's no one with the ability in this draft outside of him in the first round that we're talking about to really create this kind of separation for a 6'6", 250-pound dude. He does it with ease. It's effortless for him. He's very, very talented football player.
I have no additional comments on that. I agree with everything that you're saying in terms of his attributes. I hope to get quite a bit of them in drafts. He's going to be expensive. I have him on some Debbie rosters already, so bird in hand, that type of thing. But after we know a bit more about what offense he's going to be playing with and what his quarterback looks like and what offensive coordinator he's playing for, that I don't expect his dynasty stock to fall, barring something crazy happening, like he tumbles on draft night or on day 2. But, yeah, man, I'm excited to see what this kid does.
Yeah. I think the only realistic league I have a shot to get him in outside of trading for him is Ryan's. I have the 110 in his league. I do believe that there's a possibility he does fall in that league, so I'm excited. If he does, he is a possibility for me at the 110.
Would you move up for him?
Would I move up for him? I have Bowers, so no.
Oh, okay. Well,
no.
Embarrassment of riches, then. Yeah.
It's just a depth piece at that point. I have Bowers in that league, and so, but at that point of it, it's draft best player available at that 110. I got an embarrassment of riches on that team as well. I love that roster, so I'm going to take GT at the 1, and then we're going to go from there.
Nice, man. Not a bad way to start.
No, not a bad way to start at all. So that's going to wrap up the Colston Loveland video. Ryan, when he gets back from vacation, we got Jackson Dart to cover. So I don't know if you can see the number. I know Ryan can, but we have 201 people watching right now.
Thank you.
Shout out to you guys.
Thank you so much.
You guys are the reason we do this. So to end the video, as we always say, if you liked what you saw, you hung out with us for the 45 minutes, like, comment. Most importantly, subscribe. Dynasty Football Factory, Twitter or YouTube, is pushing for the 500 subscribers. That number means a lot to Ryan and I. This journey we've started, it's been a great journey. We're going to keep rolling.
Come work with us too. Come work with us.
There you go.
Please, editors, content creators, people just want to talk shop. Join us.
There you go.
I want you.
There you go. You heard it here first.
I make the decisions, so that's
yeah.
So you're talking to the guy that's literally going to make the Jim on the editorial side, and we make decisions together on the content side. But no, come see us.
When Ryan gets back, Jackson Dart. After that, we're going to go from there. And on that note, that's going to end the stream for us tonight. MR, thank you for joining me. Much appreciated, man.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
And we are out.